550 pages of Epstein's files are completely blacked out. What's the government hiding from the public? Let's rewind to a month ago, when Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, forcing the Justice Department to release all non-classified records within 30 days. Americans held their breath, hoping this would finally uncover the truth behind one of the most controversial cases in recent history. But when the first batch dropped on the 19th of December, people were shocked, not by what was revealed, but by what was erased. Thousands of documents hit the DOJ's website, but at least 550 pages were totally unreadable, covered in solid black blocks. Imagine clicking on a file that's supposed to shed light on a high-profile scandal, only to see nothing but darkness. One set of 3 consecutive files, 255 pages total, was completely blacked out. Another 119-page document labeled New York Grand Jury was similarly obscured. Even the partially readable pages had chunks missing, leaving more questions than answers. But here's where it gets wild. Hidden in the redacted mess were some bombshell clues. Handwritten notes detailing Epstein's missed calls surfaced, with messages like "I have women for him" scribbled on them. Most caller names were blacked out, but one note, undated, no context, had a name that wasn't covered: Donald Trump. Suddenly, the internet exploded. Was this a random call, or something more? No one could tell, because the rest of the context was gone. The backlash was immediate. Politicians from both parties slammed the DOJ, saying the blackouts violated the spirit of the Transparency Act. Releasing a pile of blacked out pages isn't transparency, it's a cover-up, one senator fired back. Another threatened to hold the DOJ in contempt of court if they didn't hand over unredacted versions to Congress. Americans took to social media, demanding answers. If there's nothing to hide, why censor so much? One user tweeted, "We deserve the truth, not a puzzle with half the pieces missing." Then, the DOJ did something even more confusing. They pulled some of the files hours after posting them, when pressed for an explanation. Officials said they needed to review photos to protect potential victims. They claimed 200-plus lawyers were working around the clock to vet each document, balancing transparency with privacy. But critics weren't buying it. You had 30 days to prepare. Why wait until after release to redact more? Someone pointed out. Days later, they re-uploaded some photos. But the damage was done. Trust in the process was shattered. As the weeks go on, the DOJ promises to release more files by the end of the year. But every new batch brings more black blocks and more outrage. People are starting to connect the dots. Epstein's case has always been tied to powerful figures, and the redacted pages feel like an attempt to shield those at the top. Could the blacked-out sections reveal connections to politicians, celebrities, or billionaires? Or is the DOJ truly just protecting victims? The worst part, this isn't just about Epstein anymore. It's about trust in the government, when a law is passed to force transparency, and the response is mass censorship. It makes people wonder, who is the system really working for? Will we ever see the full truth? Or will these blacked-out pages become